Sunsplash Sunday in the Meadowlands. Let's check in downstairs with Pam Oliver.
Well, Tom, some news and notes on the sick and injured. First for the Redskins, they're already down Pierre Garçon. Then they got news yesterday that Leonard Hankerson, another starting wide receiver, was sick, but he is fine today. For the Giants, running back Ahmad Bradshaw, he is a go. He missed some practice time this week dealing with sore feet, maybe attributable to his heavy workload of late. Back to you.
Ma'am, thank you very much. The Giants today get back Chris Canty for the first time this season. Mike Shanahan and Tom Coughlin, two of just 13 head coaches in NFL history to lead teams to a pair of Super Bowl titles. Of course, the Giants stunning for a second time New England in last year's Super Bowl, and off to a 4-2 start so far this year. The Redskins, for a fifth straight week, have won the toss, deferred to get the football to the second half. By Forbath, spins it away, and we are underway in the Meadowlands. The rookie David Wilson from the 1. And he is hit hard right at the 20-yard line. Eli Manning last year won his second Super Bowl Most Valuable Player award. So far, 11 touchdowns against 5 interceptions, and a late penalty flag came in. Matt Hockley, our referee
Offside
today.
By the kicking team, number 51. That's a 5-yard penalty. We will re-kick.
That's Chris Wilson, who started too soon for the Redskins. Washington team coming off a very impressive win last week against a Minnesota Vikings team that's off to a very solid start so far this year.
Yeah, and you take a look at what just happened here on this kickoff with Chris Wilson, being offsides. Now the Redskins were going to at least take a look at this. He's number 51. He's to the left of the kicker there. And I don't know about that call. Ball was out. He was not in front of the line when the ball was kicked. But now you give an opportunity to David Wilson to get another big return potentially. And Giant fans remember the big return he had last week to start off that second half that really ignited them offensively.
That was a 66-yard return by Wilson in the second half last week at Candlestick Park. So now they'll back it up to the 30-yard line, and Forbath set to try it again. Better kick this time, 2 yards in his own end zone. Once more, it's Wilson. And across the 20, so that's nearly a 10-yard differential after the opening kickoff penalty. This offensive line for Eli Manning doing it not only in the run game, back-to-back great outings from Bradshaw, but also in the pass game. Manning has not been sacked since the third week of the year.
No, they've been really good, and they've had to shuffle things around a little bit. Longtime tackle Dave Deal, who got hurt early in the season, and so they've gone with Sean Locklear there at right tackle, and they've protected him. A lot of credit also needs to go to those wide receivers as well as Eli for not getting sacked, but they have run the ball exceptionally well the last 2 games.
Deshaun Gomes, the injured Redskin, on the near sideline.
That was Mark Herzlich that came across and put the big hit on him, and that's why David Wilson right there, you see that's right where Gomes would have been had he not have been knocked out. A big-time hit there laid on him by Herzlich.
It's already been an injured secondary. Gomes a backup safety to Reed Dowdy. They're without Brandon Merriweather, who's not played. Kennard Jackson has been suspended. We'll take a timeout.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com.
Still tending to Deshaun Gomes over on the Washington sideline. 1st and 10 from the Giants from the 29.
5-18.
Catch. Yes, it is a catch on the near sideline. Hakeem Nicks, who returned last week after missing 3 games with an injured knee.
Well, he does a nice job of coming out here on the first play and see whether or not he got both feet in. He got one there and then drags the toe. That's a good call there by the official. And you know, Akeem Nicks, who is coming off the foot surgery, and he's been hobbled by that and then the knee injury, and he's not at full strength, but he's still able to get separation on D'Angelo Hall.
Back-to-back passes to begin this series and great protection. And they drop it off out of the backfield. And that's Bradshaw. And that's a gain of 11.
Well, there were questions coming into this game whether or not Ahmad Bradshaw would even be able to play. We heard Pam's report to start things off. He missed some practice time, and I know in visiting with Tom Coughlin, he said, I'm sure that when Sunday rolls around, as bad as it may look right now, he'll be out there playing. He's as tough a guy as there is in the league, and we just saw some of that toughness on the way he finished that run.
Alert!
First carry of the afternoon for Bradshaw, and not much running room there. Take a look at the Redskins defensively. They feel very good about their front seven, to quote Jim Haslam, their defensive coordinator, yesterday.
Well, the front seven has been good, and teams have had a hard time running the football against them. Where they have struggled has been in coverage, and teams have gotten a lot of big plays against that secondary. You wouldn't expect the Giants to be able to come in here and run that ball all that effectively, but considering the way they ran it last week against San Francisco, if they can do that against them, they can do it against just about anybody.
Throw it on second down, and again they lay it off for Bradshaw. Nice tackle made in the open field by who else? London Fletcher in his 15th year out of John Carroll. Had a career high and an NFL leading 168 tackles a season ago. He gets better with age.
Well, he does. He's been doing it a long time, and I think the thing that you can say about a player and pay him the biggest compliment is that he shows up and he's suited up every week, and this Redskins defense can count on him. I mean, I think he hadn't missed a game in his career.
Going all the way back to when he came in as an undrafted free agent with St. Louis. So a 3rd and 12 at the Redskins 47. Underthrown and incomplete. Flag down, and this may be against the Redskins.
Offside, defense, number 91. 5-yard penalty, repeat 3rd down.
That's Ryan Kerrigan, and that's a big call. 3rd and 12 comes to 3rd and 7. The Giants would have punted.
I think that's a lot of the things that Eli Manning is just doing very well that doesn't show up on the stat sheet at the end of the game. I thought last week was one of his best performances, and yet he only threw for 190 yards. The way he managed the game, the way he got rid of the ball, didn't take unnecessary hits. It's a great example of it there on 3rd down, using the hard count, getting an extra down on that, and drawing Ryan Kerrigan off sides.
Now 3rd and 7, 4-man rush, and delivered very close to the first down on the reception by Nicks. Nicks is saying he reached out far enough to get to the 35-yard line. And Ed Hochuli saying, let's get together and make sure we've got the right spot. They look like they're short.
They did from here at the time that he made the catch, and we'll see what it looks like as they bring out the chains. And you know, that's one of those situations where Akeem Nicks running the crossing route against man coverage. You know, if he pushes that up just a little bit deeper, then it's not even in question.
By that much. So an early decision for Tom Coughlin. It appears as though it was an easy decision. He's going to go for it on 4th down and less than a foot. Nicks already appears to be running better for the opening series here than he did last week in San Francisco. You agree?
I watched him in warm-ups, Tom, and it still looked like he was bothered. I mean, he might have improved from last week, but he's still not at full strength.
59 to right, set.
Giants may have jumped early this time.
Right tackle Sean Locklear.
False start offense, number 75. 5-yard penalty, it's 4th down.
Tom Coughlin is hot. You can understand why.
Well, there's no doubt, and you can see he gets started early, and you've got 4th and a foot, and you keep your team from even having an opportunity to pick that up. And if they pick that up, then this drive leads to points, whether that's a 3-point field goal attempt or a touchdown. But Tom Coughlin obviously upset with the false start pre-snap penalty.
And again, Locklear in there for the injured David Deal. Deal is back in uniform, but not back in a lineup. End over end punt will be down to the 5-yard line. So Robert Griffin III puts his toe in the NFC East when we come back.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go.
First possession of the game for the Washington Redskins. We're scoreless, 11:24 to play here in the opening quarter. And the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback out of Baylor will hand it off to another rookie in Alfred Morris. And that's a gain of close to 5 on first down. 22 years young, born in Japan, where his mom and dad both served in the military. Look at the completion percentage at 70% and only 2 interceptions, 1 fumble.
Well, I think Kyle Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, has done a nice job with Robert Griffin in allowing him to settle into games and not having him do too much early until he gets settled in. And the ball comes out quickly, and he's made great decisions, as evidenced by the high completion percentage and then having thrown just 2 interceptions.
Morris bounces off 1 tackle and is very close to a first down. Appears to maybe be a half-yard short. This offensive line without Jamal Brown, they've not had him the entire year, but again, like the Giants, have done a really good job.
Well, you take a look here at this first 3rd down by the Redskins. Normally you'd say they should be pretty good on 3rd and 1. The Redskins, one of the worst teams in all of football in 3rd and 4 and less.
They'll convert here. It appeared as though the forward progress was plenty enough for Morris. We talked about Morris. I mean, what a story he is. 6th round pick, grew up in Pensacola, Florida. He played for a former Redskins draft pick, Howard Schnellenberger at Florida Atlantic. Left as the school's all-time leading rusher. Morris and Griffin are the top 2 rookie rushers in the NFL.
Well, Alfred Morris has been awfully impressive with the things that he's been able to do at this stage of his rookie year.
First throw. And a nice catch by Logan Paulson. He's 3rd on the Redskins depth chart at the tight end position, and that gives him some breathing room all the way up to the 35.
You can see the play action, and this is what they've done so well. Washington has, because of the read option where they run the ball, now they come with the play fake, and what that does is it holds the linebackers underneath, and so essentially you then have one-on-one with the receiver because there's no underneath help because the linebackers are then playing the run.
And back to the run they go once more with Morris. Boy, strong running by Morris, dragging tacklers up to the 42-yard line. Talked about the Giants, who had 8 sacks in their first 5 games before busting loose in San Francisco with 6 of them.
Well, they got challenged last week in that game going into Candlestick Park because they had not been getting after the quarterback. They had not gotten the pressure that you come to expect from this group, and they were outstanding in that win.
Gain of 7 on first down for Morris. He gets it again and nowhere to run this time. Back to the line of scrimmage. 3rd down upcoming. And we check in for the first time today with Kurt Menefee.
Well, on the pregame show, we had a feature saying that the Vikings offense right now more than just Adrian Peterson, but you know what? Having AP is not a bad thing. 13-yard run, and they take the first lead of the game against the Cardinals. 7-0, a matchup of 4-2 squads. Tom, Troy, and Pam.
Another 3rd down for the Redskins. They converted 3rd and 1. Now it's 3rd and 3. Perfect throw On the out pattern, the catch made by Leonard Hankerson, and that's a Redskins first down.
Well, this is a nice drive that the Redskins have going. You know, when you get backed up on the 5-yard line, the first thing that you have on your mind is just picking up one first down and trying to reestablish field position then for your defense. But they've been able to convert now on a couple third downs. And, you know, they, as I said, have not been good overall this year on third down. Last week they were much improved. It helped them. And then they've got to feel good about the fact that 2 third down opportunities here on this possession, and they've converted them both.
False start, offense, number 85, 5-yard penalty, first down.
You know, you look at this offense overall under Mike Shanahan and Kyle Shanahan. They're 5th overall in total offense. They have the 2nd best rushing offense. And how about points per game, Troy? I mean, this has been un-Redskin-like, averaging 29 per game so far.
And a big reason for that has been because when they do get down into the red zone, they come away with touchdowns.
They're going to throw it. Griffin looking around, and we know he can run. And he'll step out of bounds. That's something he wanted to do more of. In fact, he promised his teammates, he promised his family that after the concussion against Atlanta, he'd start running out of bounds.
You see Fred Davis, he starts as though he's going to run the deep crossing route, and then he comes back out of it to the corner, and Robert Griffin was just a little bit late picking it up. He could have laid that one over the top and had a big gain on the play. But as we've seen, he's not going to force anything. If he's undecided at all, then because of the ability that he has, he turns a play that most quarterbacks would have to just throw it away into at least a 1-yard gain.
2nd down and 9, and Morris cuts it back to the inside. He crosses midfield to the Giant 49. It'll bring up the 3rd third down so far on this drive. This will be 3rd and a little less than 5.
I had to look at the sticks there, Tom, because it sure seemed like he gained more than 1 yard on that run. It reminds me a little bit of when I would play against Barry Sanders and watch him. It sure looked impressive even when there wasn't a whole lot of yards being gained, and we saw how elusive he was on that scramble.
3rd down and 4. Middle of the field, the catch is made by Fred Davis, and that's a Redskins first down to the Giant 34.
Well, sometimes even a bad play fake is effective. You're going to see Robert Griffin, he's behind him. He rides trying to put it in Evan Royster's belly and show play fake, but it's still effective, still gets the linebackers to play up. Normally in that situation, when you're saying 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, you're talking about a pass all the way. But Kyle Shanahan mixes it in enough that where you still have to honor the play action, even in what was seen as obvious passing downs.
Across the middle of the field. Catch is made by Joshua Morgan. He is into the end zone, but there is a penalty flag in front of the Giant sideline.
Illegal shift by the offense. Number 83 fails to reset before the ball was snapped. 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
That's a big mental mistake right there by the tight end Davis. Takes away a touchdown.
Well, I'm not sure. There had to have been somebody else then moving. Fred Davis, he went in motion and he circled back. He didn't get a good look at it there, but in order for him to have to be set, there had to be someone else moving at the same time, because otherwise that motion, there's nothing wrong with that motion.
Go 9-3, 9-3. 9-4, 9-4, 9-3.
The 1st and 10 becomes 1st and 15, and Morris, boy, is he a powerful back. 2 Giants rolling over each shoulder, and now a flag comes in as there's pushing and shoving.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness defense, number 59. 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's Michael Boley.
This is a divisional rival between these two teams, and you're going to see where right on the left of the screen there, he came up and took a shot at Trent Williams. I don't know what took place before that, but that's obviously a tough penalty against the New York Giants.
So now first down at the Giants 20. On this opening possession of the game for Griffin and the Redskins, and it's Morris. And a heavy dose of Alfred Morris, a rookie out of Florida Atlantic. That's already his 8th carry of the afternoon and has nearly 40 rushing yards.
This offensive line for the Washington Redskins is doing a nice job. They're creating some space there for Alfred Morris. They're getting a push, and they're starting to pick some things up. Called it. And Alfred Morris, he's not the fastest guy, and that's probably what kept him from going higher in the draft. I mean, obviously from a small college, but he is a tough runner, and he's proven it here on this first possession for the Redskins. This is a heck of a drive.
13th play of the drive, and the 9th time Morris will get it. And he's run out of bounds inside the 5 to the 3. This is the way the Redskins have done it. Granted, their record is 3-3. Granted, their defense has given up a lot of big plays. But when they have the football, it has been a lot of what you're watching right now.
And that last run was pretty much signature Mike Shanahan and what we saw for all those years there in Denver. And he's brought it here to Washington. It's the wide stretch play, and you get that offensive line going. And Alfred Morris did a nice job of just keeping it play side and getting a nice gain out of it.
Trying to cap it off with a visit to the end zone. And he is shoved down to the 1-yard line. Kiwanuka on the tackle.
Yeah, they come back with the exact same play. And this time, what you worry about as a defense is the cutback lane. And Alfred Morris, he put his foot in the ground there, got north and south. And that's really what they like about this young man. He's not real flashy. He's very solid. And what you're looking for in a back, and Mike Shanahan has seemingly found it everywhere that he's been, is someone who has good vision but doesn't dance around a lot. Once he finds a hole, he hits it, and he gets going north and south.
Second and goal. And broken up. Amukamura locked up with Niles Paul. It's incomplete. It brings up third down and goal.
Well, Niles Paul had him beat. You see the position that he has on him, and that's a good play there by Prince Amukamara. The ball really had to be put on the body of Niles Paul. He's a big guy, came in the league as a wide receiver, plays some tight end as well. He's a big body, and if that had been put on him, he would have had a chance. We see Fred Davis here, and he's obviously a big part of what they do offensively. This would be a huge loss.
Davis here, leading receiver, and has already become one of the most prolific pass-catching tight ends in Redskins history.
Like he might have just rolled it as he was coming around trying to get to the post against Antrell Roll.
We're closing in on 2:25 to play here in the opening quarter. A drive that has chewed up nearly 9 minutes. And clearly Davis, he can't even put weight on that ankle.
No, that's a big loss. I mean, he's their leading receiver, and they use him at the tight end position. They flex him out, and he's had a nice season, a nice start to this season. And they don't have another guy. I mean, I talk about Niles Paul, and he could become a really good player, but he's not the polished tight end that Fred Davis is.
Well, Niles Paul, in fact, is a converted wide receiver this year. Redskins have not scored a touchdown on their opening drive this year. In fact, only once on their opening drive have they scored points, and that was the first drive of the season they kicked a field goal. Try to change that on 3rd and goal. Griffin looking around and just wisely throws it away. Being chased by Foley and Jason Pierre-Paul.
That's excellent coverage by the Giants, because as you're going to see, they're trying to go to Hankerson to the corner, but Corey Webster was in press coverage and he was all over him. And so Robert Griffin, he knew he had one-on-one coverage. He was expecting Hankerson then to win on the route. He couldn't, and then he just had nowhere to go with the football.
And you wonder in Davis' absence how critical that play becomes. So now Forbath, who they just signed prior to last week's game against Minnesota, made his only field goal attempt from 50 yards. And this one is good. 16 plays, but points on the opening drive for Griffin and the Redskins.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost, by Windows 8, and by Pizza Hut. Make it great.
Welcome back to the NFL on Fox. We're in the Meadowlands of New Jersey, the first divisional game for Robert Griffin III. He takes his team 93 yards, chewing up over 9 minutes, capped off by a field goal. They had a touchdown taken away on the drive because of a penalty to the now injured Fred Davis.
Yeah, I didn't see anybody else moving on that play. We're going to take another look at it and see if we can determine if, in fact, Fred Davis had to get set before the ball was snapped when we come out of commercial. But that was a great drive there by the Washington Redskins, coming off their own goal line and going down and coming away with some points.
David Wilson will bring it out, and wisely will be told by Reuben Randall, hold on a minute. So the Giants get it back. Their second possession, down 3-0 in the opening quarter. Not good news for the Redskins. Fred Davis, their leading receiver, having to go back to the locker room on a cart. David Deal joining Sean Locklear, an extra offensive lineman, as they hand it off to Andre Brown on first down. And a flag comes in late. That'll be a late hit. Delivered by D'Angelo Hall.
After the runner was down, personal foul, unnecessary roughness defense, number 23. 15-yard penalty, first down.
So tack on 15 more after the carry. Looked like David Boss, the Giants center, was shaken up on that play. He has stayed in the game, but clearly wobbling around a little bit.
And D'Angelo Hall, he gets called for the late hit. He's playing middle safety on that play, something that he has done this year. Remember, the Redskins had some Brandon Merriweather, of course, they expected a lot out of at safety. He's not available, and then Tenard Jackson being suspended, so they've had some weaknesses there at that position.
Bob Bradshaw dropped for a 1-yard loss. Let's go back to that penalty you talked about on Fred Davis.
You can see Josh Morgan right out here, and he was the one who was moving. When he's moving, everyone has to be set before Fred Davis can then go in motion, and he simultaneously was moving up to get positioned on the line when Fred Davis went in motion. A lot of times those officials will let something like that go, but that was not a bad call. I mean, that was the right call to make, and it's unfortunate because it cost the Redskins a touchdown.
Second down and 9. And a strike caught by Victor Cruz. That'll be a yard short of a first down. Well, for more on Fred Davis, Pam, what's up?
Well, Tom, before they took him back, I saw the Redskins trainers focusing on the back of Fred Davis's lower foot. He looked awfully worried as they examined it. The word from the Redskins is that Fred Davis has an Achilles injury. He is out, Tom.
Third down and a yard. Giants from their own 48. 8 times this year they faced third down and a yard, and all 8 they've run it. They're going to throw it for the first time. Down the middle of the field and caught by Martellus Bennett. What a beautiful throw, and he hung on.
See Martellus Bennett, he comes in motion. The Redskins are expecting run as well. Josh Wilson hesitates just enough to allow Martellus Bennett in behind him. Great job, Martellus Bennett, hanging on to that ball as it goes to the ground.
Giants with a first down after the 31-yard pass play to Martellus Bennett. They're at the Washington 21-yard line, trailing 3-0.
180.
Play fake. Incomplete. Second down and 10.
We'll go back and take a look at the previous play on the reception by Martellus Bennett. Some question as to whether or not he was able to maintain possession, but he actually does. It's a great job. You see the ball moving just a little bit. Adi Williams was in a position to knock it loose, but he maintains control of it as he goes to the ground. It was an excellent catch.
Dennis, of course, came over from the Dallas Cowboys, spent his first 4 seasons there. He's been very quiet in their offense the last couple of weeks. Short drop, quick throw. Unable to handle it, Dominic Hickson. They've had all these receivers that have been a big game by Hickson, big game by Barton after the injury by Nix.
They've had different guys step up. Last week's leading receiver in terms of yardage was that man right there, Dominic Hickson. I've been very impressed with him. I think he's a really underrated player, an excellent route runner. He has good hands. You couldn't tell it by that last play. A little surprising for him not to catch. They've had 2 opportunities on first down. Eli makes a poor throw, and then the drop by Hickson on second down.
So now third down and 10. Blitz coming. They pick it up. Bradshaw. And he beats Fletcher. Did he get the first down? Yes, he did. No, they're saying maybe a yard short. Let's see where they spot it.
Yeah, that'll be close. I sure thought from here he made it. That's an excellent job by Ahmad Bradshaw. Once he gets the ball in his hands, being able to just give a move then right there, just to make Fletcher hesitate enough that allowed him then to get to the outside and pick up that first down. Excellent job.
Of course, Bradshaw has been plagued by foot problems throughout his career. He's had surgeries on both of his feet. And after carrying the ball 57 times the last 2 weeks, he was a bit tender this week in practice. Clearly not on the same page that time, Eli Manning and Akeem Nicks.
No, and I got to tell you, that's normally against D'Angelo Hall, that's an interception because he is almost always cluing the quarterback. But he got his eyes off of Eli just long enough to pick up Akeem Nicks. But had he been looking into the backfield, as he generally does, that would have been an easy interception for him.
Ninth play of this drive for the Giants, trailing 3-0, 1 minute into the second quarter.
3 down, 360, Mike. That's it. 518, 5 touch.
Pitch it to Bradshaw. Inside the 10, stopped at the 8-yard line. It'll bring up third down. The Giants can get a first down at the 1-yard line.
You talked about Bradshaw and the workload that he's had the last couple of weeks and the toll that that's taken. He's had, I don't know, 4 or 5 surgeries on his feet. You know, that's not a good thing when you're talking about running backs, and yet he's been able to come out and play. There was a time he was missing a lot of practice time. That started, as we said, this week, and I know Tom Coughlin's hoping that that does not become the norm once again for him.
Denied the end zone, but enough for a first down is Akeem Nicks. It looked like he clearly got to the 1 on the reception, denied the goal line. But it's a first down for the Giants.
Well, that's what Akeem Nicks has given this team. You know, while he's not at full strength, he's able to use his body. Eli puts the ball on him. And you're right. I mean, although they don't get the touchdown, they're going to come out and measure for the first down. But an excellent job there by the Giants, getting the completion on third down and then picking up the first down. I'm not so sure Coughlin wouldn't have gone for it even if they were short. And we talked about last year, the 2 losses to the Redskins. They had a big win last year against the Cowboys, came back and didn't even show up against the Redskins. There's talk about, okay, well, big win last week. What's going to happen this week? I don't feel that this was a trap game whatsoever when RG3 is playing quarterback.
Play fake and overthrown. Well, you go back to last year. When the Giants, of course, started out the season at 6-2, they lost 4 in a row, and that win you're talking about at Dallas, they feel like turned their year around. And then all of a sudden they come back here, they lose to the Redskins before winning their final 3 in round 2 of the divisional championship. 12th play of the drive on a 2nd and goal. And it is a touchdown for Andre Brown. Team high 4th rushing touchdown for Andre Brown.
He's going to get him behind fullback Henry Hynoski, and London Fletcher tries to meet him in the hole as he tries to go over the top. Does a good job, but not before Brown's able to punch that one across the goal line. And Henry Hynoski, who had a great game last week against San Francisco. Not a lot of teams employ a fullback these days, but he's an excellent player.
Have an injured Redskin down at the bottom of that pile as Brown went up and over the top. Brown, an amazing story at 25 years old, originally a 4th round pick by the Giants in 2009. He was waived a year later and started a journey of 4 different teams. He was cut 8 times. The Giants brought him back last year. They cut him. They put him on the practice squad, active roster this year. And after Bradshaw got hurt early, he came on in relief in a big outing against Tampa Bay and then had 113 rushing yards in the win against Carolina.
Well, I think he's the guy who jump-started this running game for the New York Giants. I mean, they were not running the ball that effectively. Ahmad Bradshaw goes down against Tampa Bay. Andre Brown comes off the bench, and he started to give this group a little bit of confidence, and it has carried over. He comes back the following week, has a 100-yard day. As you see the end of this play, now Reed Doughty is the one who is banged up and is on the turf, and he's their big run defender. As you see, 37 right here. But as I said, they're very thin already at the safety position. Reed Doughty is very valuable to them as a run defender, as the extra defender in the box. And without him, they start trying to figure out exactly how they're going to handle this situation. We saw Dijon Gomes, he went down on the kickoff, and Jordan Pugh, who suffered a concussion last week, he would be next man standing.
And Pugh is active today. The point after by Lawrence Tynes is good. 12 plays, 80 yards. Giants in front, 7-3. So after the Redskins go 93 yards in 17 plays, but coming away with just a field goal, the Giants answer with an 80-yard, 12-play drive. Andre Brown, the scoring plunge from 1 yard out. It appears as though Reed Doughty, you got to look at him on the bike over there, starting to move around a little bit. 12:41 to play until halftime. First divisional game for the Washington Redskins here today. So 6 of their final 10 games of the year will be inside the NFC East.
Pretty interesting that it's their first game here today. All the other teams have had a divisional game and some, multiple divisional games. But yeah, late start here for the Redskins.
Giants have lost both of their division games at home against Dallas, and they lost on the road in Philly. So Robert Griffin already racing out from the Redskins sideline, trailing 7-3.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Lowe's. Lowe's, never stop improving. By Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time.
MetLife Stadium in the Meadowlands of New Jersey. Troy Aikman, you'll be here for the Super Bowl next year. How about that?
Yeah, how about that? First time it'll be in a cold weather outdoor stadium. It'll be interesting.
The Redskins back at it on offense, and that did not fool the Giants defense. Kiwanuka on the stop. Well, baseball coming up later tonight on Foxtoberfest. Game 6, Joe Buck, Tim McCarver. The National League Championship Series, Cardinals trying to close it out once more. And then a Game 7 would be on Fox if necessary tomorrow night. The World Series begins on Wednesday. The Tigers will be there. They'll be playing on the road. The National League winning the All-Star game. Foxtoberfest right here on Fox. Griffin looking down the field and throws over the defender, and the catch is made along the sideline by Hankerson.
That was a great throw. You know, they go play action. They run this a lot. They want deep crossing routes. They got the deep post route. It gives them then an opportunity to create a big play down the field. And I thought the Giants played this beautifully in the secondary, and there wasn't a lot there. But if you throw a perfect pass, you can't hardly defense it. And he laid that one in beautifully to Hankerson. You see the route there as Hankerson comes across the field, and Boley's underneath that throw. I mean, anything less than perfect and potentially intercepted or, of course, incomplete. But he laid it in there nice.
Linval Joseph is the injured Giant. We'll step aside and be back in a moment. Joseph able to get up, walk off under his own power, and he'll trot into the Giants locker room. After the big completion to Hankerson. And they pitch it to Morris. He cuts it back to the inside, and Alfred Morris rumbles to the Giant 41-yard line. What a start today for this rookie out of Florida Atlantic.
You're going to see the way this offensive line works together as they move in this zone blocking scheme, and then they just allow Alfred Morris to pick a hole. And he does it very, very well. And I mean, heck, Tom, you could have run through that hole.
Don't get carried away, big fella.
As big as that was, here he is. He's second in the NFL in runs of 20 yards or more, second only to Frank Gore. If he had more speed, he could have busted a lot of those for some touchdowns, but he does a great job of finding the hole and then getting in it.
And you meant if he had my speed on first down, that'll pick up the 3.
You look at this offense and some of the things that they do within it. The play action is very good because they really do sell the run. A lot of times you're going to see they don't have a great mesh point, but this is play action. And you tell me if you're a linebacker, you're not going to read that then as run. And that was the deep ball that he threw to Hankerson for the completion. And this young man here is a passer in every sense of the word. Yes, he can run, but he hangs in the pocket and he delivers the football. I've been very impressed with him.
Second down at 5, he's going to run it himself. And he has the first down to the 29-yard line. Last week against Minnesota, in just his 6th NFL game, he became the first player ever in the history of football in a season. He did it in one game. Threw for a touchdown, had a rushing score of over 75 yards. He joined Michael Vick as the only quarterbacks going back to the merger in 70 to rush for over 130 yards and have 2 touchdowns, including that electrifying 76-yard score to ice it against Minnesota. Forrest down to the 26-yard line, a gain of 3.
You know, the concern for Mike Shanahan, really is what happens here at the end of this play and the hits that he's then going to take. He's not protected as a quarterback when he becomes a runner, and he's not afforded that kind of protection in the helmet-to-helmet then by Chase Blackburn, and those are the hits that you're going to take. And it's hard to make a living in this league as a quarterback getting hit like that, but yet that's what he brings. And so they're trying to strike a balance, and he is. He's trying to get down when he can, but invariably those things are going to occur.
Taking one way, rolling the other. Incomplete, third down coming up.
In talking with Perry Fuel, because the Giants have faced Michael Vick, they faced Cam Newton last week, Colin Kaepernick to a lesser extent, and so what's the difference? And the difference in Perry Fuel's mind, defensive coordinator, is how fast RG3 can come off of the play fake and accelerate to top speed.
Santana Moss for a first down and a touchdown. The wide receiver screen to the 12-year veteran. And Mike Shanahan told us he has that extra burst after losing 15 pounds in the offseason. And a score to put the Redskins back in front.
But you're going to see some great blocking down the field as well. Look at all those offensive linemen down there. And Logan Paulson is the guy who allows him to get all the way into the end zone. He comes from the opposite tight end position, gets up the field, secures the block to the inside, and allows Santana Moss to score. That's great execution.
Going after is good. So many wondering, how would Robert Griffin III handle his first journey inside the NFC East? So far, real good.
It is sponsored by Chevrolet. From kickoff to the last yard, Chevy runs deep.
How about 2 scoring drives for the Washington Redskins, one spanning 93 yards and that one going for 80.
Yeah, just 2 drives in this game, and they've come away with points on both of those, and both of those drives have been very impressive.
Wilson out across the 20 and still on his feet all the way up to the 27-yard line.
Go back to that touchdown. You're going to see the offensive linemen, how they get out here, but look at Paulson here, how he gets back up the field and secures the inside on the safety, and that was the final block that got Santana Moss then into the end zone. This offensive line has done a nice job here in this ball game, and you know, Robert Griffin really hasn't had to do a whole lot. I mean, he's throwing the ball well, and we've talked about that, but Alfred Morris and the holes that this offensive line has given him, and then in addition, the blocking down the field for the touchdown, they've been impressive.
The Giants right back at it. Eli to throw it on first down. Second catch of the afternoon for guess who? The crowd will tell you every time Victor Cruz makes a catch for the Giants. Cruz, one of the last players to win a roster spot on this Giants team a year ago, and wound up going to the Pro Bowl over 1,500 yards, and without question has become one of the most elite receivers and the most dependable receivers in the NFL. He had a couple drops early in the year, but you knew that would get turned around. Bennett, a first down to the 49.
Of course, with Brian Arakpo going down for the Redskins, Ryan Kerrigan then becomes their elite pass rusher, and Sean Locklear is the one asked to keep him off of Eli Manning, and Sean Locklear knows all about this rivalry. In fact, last year when the Redskins beat the Giants here in New York in December, he was the starting left tackle for the Washington Redskins.
Last time Eli Manning was sacked, you got to go all the way back to the Carolina game, and a catch is made inside the 30. So just like that, 3 plays, 3 catches. This one by Nix, and that's a first down to the Redskin 29.
Yeah, D'Angelo Hall, you know, he plays outside leverage. He's soft on the play, and if you don't get linebackers underneath that, they call it a glance route. It's that quick post. If you don't get a linebacker underneath that throw with a corner playing outside off coverage, it's pretty much a gimme.
Looked like Eli Manning went to the sideline and got a new helmet. As that ball's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Apparently there are some radio problems inside the other helmet. So he said, let's get this straightened out.
Yeah, they usually do keep 2 helmets on the sidelines, or an extra helmet, I should say, for the quarterback, so that in the event something like that does happen, you'd be surprised. Things have changed from when I played, and they had that communication, but it was amazing to me how undependable that system was at times.
Andre Brown, good yardage. Tripped up inside the 25, down to the 23. It'll bring up a third down for the Giants, trying to answer the scoring strike by the Redskins, as we're down to 6:30 to play until halftime. This will be the 15th play already in Redskins territory. Redskins trying to stand tall on this 3rd and 4. Blitz coming, they pick it up. Eli rolls and he will slide for the first down at the 18. That's his longest carry of the year, a gain of 5 for Eli Manning.
Well, these safeties are playing hard over the top. Here, you see how wide they are and how much room then there is in the middle. So the guy who has to win is that inside breaking route. Eli gets some pressure. He doesn't like what he sees, but because of where the safeties and everybody else underneath in man coverage, it gave Eli Manning, obviously not known as a running quarterback, but wisely sees open field and takes it.
Bear Pasco leads away from Bradshaw. It's on a very quiet opening half. Boy, look at the strength of Bradshaw. He's still on his feet. He goes 5'10", 214, but that's a strong 214.
Yeah, he's a hard guy to get to the ground. I mean, he doesn't know what going down means, really. I mean, he's going to fight for every yard that he can get. You know, last week's game against San Francisco, they didn't run the ball all that well in that first half. But boy, the hole started breaking open there in the second half, and they're not going to abandon that running game.
We'll get it again. And looks to be about a half a yard short of the first down. You may remember 2 weeks ago against Cleveland, Bradshaw fumbled on the first play from scrimmage. And he said after that he got angry, ran hard. Well, he wound up with a career-high 30 carries for a career-best 200 yards, and then the 116 on top of it in the rout of the Niners last week.
Well, I couldn't be more impressed with him. And like I say, I mean, he's fought through a lot of pain to get out there and play each week. Can you imagine what he could do if he had healthy feet?
Incomplete on 3rd and a yard.
Yeah, Victor Cruz, you were talking about him a moment ago. He is outstanding off the line of scrimmage. The move starts to the outside, and he gets Josh Wilson on his heels, and that should have been an easy touchdown for Eli Manning. We've seen a couple throws from Eli that's really somewhat uncharacteristic here recently that he has missed, and that was a great opportunity missed for the Giants to get a touchdown to Victor Cruz.
So now Lawrence tying, and they'll spot it at the 17, 27-yard field goal try, and it is good. He has not missed inside of 40, going all the way back to week 1 of last year. 3:53 to play. The Giants and the Redskins are tied at 10. Best chance for Manning, Cruz, and the Giants, but they come away with 3 to tie this game at 10. And Robert Griffin III will have 3:53, all 3 timeouts. After that one went 10 plays for 63 yards. 4 consecutive lengthy drives from these teams after the Giants had to punt on their opening possession of the game. Will take a knee. So Santana Moss and the Redskins come back on the field after the touchdown by Moss. For more on him, there's Pam Mullum.
Well, Tom, Moss told me flat out he got complacent the last 3 or 4 years. So instead of taking the usual 3 or 4 months off, he said he decided that he would only take 1. He also said that I'm not a dumb guy. I also know that these coaches are bringing in other people, so I have to be smart, get myself ready.
Thank you, Pam. First down. And on the keeper, it's Griffin, and look out. He's run out of bounds, just short of midfield. When you say look out when he gets daylight, you're talking about a young man who was a Big 12 conference champion in the 400-meter hurdles at Baylor.
Well, you're going to see the blocking on the outside. First, you got Niles Paul. He secures the inside. And then on the outside, you got Logan Paulson, who we saw be the guy who allowed Santana Moss to score on his touchdown. And that to me looked like a design keeper. Most of the time, RG3 is going to read it, but that time, based on the blocking there on the edge, that was a design keeper the entire way.
Going to hand it off this time to Alfred Morris, and he has daylight inside the 30. And run out of bounds close to the 20. They'll spot it to the 22-yard line. First drive dominated by the run. Second drive through the air. And now back-to-back big runs from these rookies.
Logan Paulson's going to kick out after he collapses down. But Tyler Columbus, you see him just destroy the edge of the line. And that created a huge vacuum for Alfred Morris to get up the field. I mean, I'm impressed with what I've seen of Alfred Morris all season long. But there are some gaping holes, not only in this game, but some of the other games where he's gotten some awfully nice runs.
So first down and back into the hands of Morris, who is coming off, or this time they give it to Young, I beg your pardon. But Alfred Morris, we told you, a 6th-round draft pick out of Florida Atlantic, and many liken him to another 6th-round pick under Mike Shanahan, Terrell Davis in Denver.
Well, it might be a little early for that comparison. The difference, I would say, is Terrell Davis has better speed. You know, that's the one thing that Alfred Morris seems to lack. But if I was a running back in the National Football League, I'd sure like to be playing in an offense coached by Mike Shanahan.
Young once more for a second carry, and not much running room there. We're talking about Morris. He was coming off a season low 47 rushing yards last week, but he is zeroing in on 100 today. 2-minute warning. Redskins looking to recapture the lead. 3rd down and 5 for the Redskins to the Giants' 18-yard line. It's hard to guess with this Redskins team whether they're going to run it or throw it.
I'd give it to number 46 again. They won't hear.
Griffin's going to try and run it. He's wrapped up and thrown to the deck. First sack of the year for Justin Tuck.
Been waiting a long time for that one. You see Justin Tuck, he comes through Tyler Columbus, the right tackle. He doesn't get any help, and so it's just one-on-one. He drives Columbus right back then into Robert Griffin, and that's a good stop by New York, because after the way the Redskins have been able to move the ball down the field throughout this first half, to be able to come up with the stop here and not give up anything more than potentially a field goal was big.
Now, Troy, we go back to your first game inside the NFC East. And obviously with Dallas, that was a rough year for you in that first year. But does anything stand out, or any advice you might have had for Robert Griffin III coming into this game?
Not really. These quarterbacks that come into the league today, I think, are so much better equipped and prepared to play well. We've seen it. We've seen it a number of times from a number of young players. And it's been impressive. The game's not too big for them, that's for sure.
43-yard field goal try by Kai Forbath. 2 for his first 2 in a Redskins uniform. And this one will sneak inside the left upright. Was good game. Good game. Redskins and the Giants. And that much the difference in a 3-point Washington lead. Robert Griffin III and the Washington Redskins on the road, their first game inside the NFC East, and with 1:49 to play until halftime, an 85-yard drive capped off by the Forbath field goal. And the Redskins in front 13-10. This is David Wilson, and once more Ruben Randall turns around and says, don't think about it. All right, 2 timeouts now for Eli Manning. And this is where the Giants have really been at their very best. The last 3 minutes of either a first half or a second half, they have scored 50 points in those 6-minute spans over the course of this year, second only to the Atlanta Falcons among all teams in the league.
There's a lot of great quarterbacks in this league, and I can't think of one you'd rather have playing at the end of a half or certainly at the end of a game right now in today's game than Eli Manning.
Bennett, that'll be a gain of close to 8 on first down.
You look at what the Redskins have been able to do in this first half. I mean, the Giants really have not stopped them. As I said, they kept them from getting into the end zone, but still they've scored every time they've had the ball. They've run the ball effectively. It puts pressure on an offense then to match every time you get the ball yourself.
Again, looking for Bennett, and coverage. It's incomplete. Perry Riley, third-year backer out of LSU. Well, this becomes an important third down. If the Redskins can stop them, they'll get the ball back, and Washington still has 3 timeouts remaining. Giants 4 of 6 on third down. And Manning able to convert. And once more, it's Martellus Bennett, who only had 5 catches over the last 3 weeks. And let's check in with Kurt Menefee on what's coming up at halftime.
Coming up on the Visa Halftime, we'll have highlights from around the league, including an unbelievable first half for Chris Johnson and a battle between the only 2 AFC teams with winning records, the Ravens and Texans. It's all coming up on the Visa Halftime. See you then.
You talk about Martellus Bennett and him making a nice third down reception. They give a lot of help to the outside here with the safeties. And so that's the middle of the field that you have to work as the quarterback. Those guys have to win, whether that's Victor Cruz in the slot or Martellus Bennett. Martellus has done that time and time again here for the Giants.
4 catches for Bennett. And too tall for Cruz. Second down from the 40.
You know, Martellus Bennett, as I said, he's found himself a home here in New York. And in Dallas, they thought a lot of him and kept waiting for things to happen and him to become the dominant player that they envisioned. And it just, for whatever reason, of course, they've got Jason Witten there, and you know they got other guys to get the ball to, and they have that same setup here. But yet Eli Manning has incorporated him into this offense, and he has been very, very productive for this group.
Nixon denied first down yardage, and the clock will continue to run. It'll bring up a third down and 4 for the Giants, and we're at 1 minute to play until halftime. What a catch in traffic by Nix. And that is a first down. Clock continues to run. The Giants have 1 timeout remaining. 40 seconds left. Broken up this time. Good coverage by Cedric Griffin. Oh, what a play a minute ago by Nix.
Yeah, you take a look at this, and it's a perfect throw, and that's not an easy catch to make. It's great coverage by Cedric Griffin, who's playing for the first time in 3 weeks. But the reason that there's such great coverage there is because Hakeem Nicks just is not running the way that he's capable of running, and so he's not able to get any type of separation, and you've got to make the perfect throw, or you've got to let him body guys up in order to be effective in this game.
Cruz to the 35-yard line, and that is a first down. And again, the Giants are sitting on that timeout. We're down to 20 ticks left. My, do they run this beautifully. Right into the line of scrimmage. And Manning looking around. Cruz to the 21. And now they'll use that final timeout.
And Eli hung in there beautifully on the throw 2 plays ago. Lorenzo Alexander, he comes up inside, and he's able to get a hit then on Eli just as he's turning it loose. And then this is Victor Cruz down the slot, and he is tough in there. I mean, I've said it before, I think he's the best slot player there is in the league right now. I mean, for the longest time, I would have said that's Wes Wes Welker there in New England, but Victor Cruz gives them huge playability down the field, and in their 3 wide receiver package when he goes to the slot, if you've got one guy on him, I don't know that anybody can cover him.
So once more, the Giants in that hurry-up offense under 2 minutes to play. Should be from 39 yards out. And it is good and tied up. Well, you know, we've talked a lot about Robert Griffin III being a running quarterback. Well, apparently he's not the only running quarterback hanging out in the Meadowlands here today. We're not talking about Jameel Holloway. No, no. This is Troy Aikman running the option at Oklahoma. Take a look at this.
Oh, yeah. That was the best run I ever had in my career. That's good stuff. A lot of people don't realize I ran the wishbone option at one time in my life.
And then you broke your leg, right?
Well, in that game, and against Jimmy Johnson, who was the head coach for the Miami Hurricanes at the time, and that's what led to me transferring. They didn't confuse me, though, or they're not confusing RG3 with number 18.
I don't know. You're moving pretty good. I mean, you know, all I heard about was how fast all those Miami Hurricanes are, and they're watching you go racing by.
Oh, man. How about this game, though, here in this first half and the offenses that we've seen both teams over 200 yards of offense, not a lot of defense. And it kind of makes you wonder as we move into this second half, then, is there going to be any defense, and is this going to come down to who has the ball last?
We're going to be picked up by Niles Paul. He will bring it up to the 25-yard line, and that will put a cap on this very entertaining opening half from MetLife Stadium. Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report coming up after these messages and a word from your local Fox station. Set to begin the second half here from the Meadowlands in New Jersey at MetLife Stadium, and we invite you to follow your favorite team all season long. Just go to iTunes.com/NFL. 5th consecutive week, Mike Shanahan's Redskins have won the coin toss, deferred to get the football in the second half. So Robert Griffin III is set to try and break this 13-13 tie.
Yeah, and I think that was what made that score by the Giants to end the first half even that much more important, knowing that the Redskins were going to get the ball to start the second half.
Let's check in downstairs with Pam Oliver.
Well, Tom, Mike Shanahan didn't complain too much about his defense. He just said we've got to slow them down on their third down plays. Losing Fred Davis, he said, was bad, but other guys just have to step in. As for Tom Coughlin, he said we have got to figure out how to stop their run. He says we're also having problems with the option. We got to figure that out too. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. 146 rushing yards for the Washington Redskins in the first half.
And most of that was Alfred Morris. For the most part, they've kept Robert Griffin in check. I mean, he still has 130 total yards there in the first half. But Alfred Morris has been the guy who has really hurt them, that and third down defense.
We're going to throw it on first down. Nope. Griffin's going to tuck it away. And he will step out of bounds at the 31-yard line, and that's a gain of 11 on first down. Redskins had the ball 3 times. They've not punted yet. And the numbers will tell the story in part, racking up 223 total yards. The Giants scored on all but 1 possession.
I mean, this was an offense that, coming into the game, second worst offense in the league, converting on third downs. But in the first half against these Giants, they were outstanding.
Well, you mentioned last week they started to get it turned around against Minnesota, went 6 of 12 on third down. Play fake to Morris. Griffin looking for the big hit down the middle of the field. Oh, the fingertips of Leonard Hankerson. That looked like a nicely thrown ball by Griffin.
Yeah, Stevie Brown, he almost got caught looking because he's supposed to be playing deep middle, but he thought that Robert Griffin was coming underneath to the shallower route, and that allowed Hankerson then to get over the top. I thought Hankerson could have maybe laid out for this one and hauled that one in.
Hankerson, of course, getting playing time after the injury to Pierre Garçon. Chris carrying his second stanza for Morris, and it's a gain of 3. Griffin ran it for 75, or threw it for 75 in the first half. Up to 85, and Morris has now hit 100 rushing yards in his 15 carries, his third 100-yard rushing games, and Moss's only reception, a touchdown. Moss to the top of your screen in a slot on a third down, and that's Hankerson in a second and a third effort, and it looks like he's about a half-yard short. For the first time today, the Redskins will be forced to punt.
You see Corey Webster, I mean, they make the completion, but Hankerson was not able, it's 3rd and 7 there, and he was unable to get past the chains at the time that he completed the pass. And the Giants, with good gang tackling, come back and are able to finish him off. And we've seen that a couple times, and sometimes the route only says to go 5 yards or 6 yards. I've always thought as a receiver, you have to stretch that a little bit in those situations so that if you complete it, you complete it for the first down.
Very short punt by the sore-kneed Rocket. They weren't sure if he was going to be able to go today. His first punt of the afternoon and the first possession of the second half for Eli and the Giants when we come back.
This game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Find our fares online only at southwest.com. By Bud Light, the official beer of NFL fans. Here we go. By Chrysler, imported from Detroit. And by Burger King and the delicious new holiday sweets.
Opening game inside the NFC East for the Washington Redskins, a 13-13 tie. And the Giants with the football for the first time here in the second half. Starting this drive from their own 27.
5-18.
Cruz slightly overthrown. Josh Wilson back there in coverage.
I think that's a throw that Eli Manning would really like to have back. I think he rushed it a little bit. Ahmad Bradshaw actually does a pretty good job in protection, but he had a shot at Victor Cruz, and that's a throw you just have to try to lead that receiver more to the middle of the field and let him run and go get it. But Eli, as I talked about, I think he's playing the position at an awfully high level. But in this game today, he's missed some throws that we've just come to expect him to make, and it's been very uncharacteristic. Still playing well, but has missed some throws that he normally has.
And a nice throw right there. Penalty flag is down. Catch made by Nix.
Holding offense, number 65. 10-yard penalty, repeat second down.
That's Will Beatty. Looked like he had a hold of Barry Cofield, the former Giant.
Well, you're going to see it was actually Will Beatty there at left tackle. He had Rob Jackson, the outside backer, who was in pass rush and got a hold of him around the neck and nullified what was a good executed play there by Akeem Nix on the outside. Akeem Nix, as we've said, I mean, for a guy who's not really able to run all that well, shouldn't be threatening these corners to go past them. He's created some separation on some throws on the outside.
5-18. 5-10.
Second down, they set up a screen to Bradshaw. Cuts it back to the inside and buys himself 3 additional yards. We have seen significant injuries on both sides. There with the crutches, you're going to look at Greg Davis. I mean, right from the opening kickoff. Dejon Gomes leveled on the block by Herzlich. Davis in the back of the end zone. Reed Dowdy was hurt down near the goal line, but was able to come back into the game. And the Redskins are already playing without 3 injured starters. Arakpo, Carricker. Now, they've been out for a long time, and Brandon Merriweather has not played yet. Third down, and Eli, great protection, steps up, and it is nearly intercepted by Cedric Griffin.
I think Eli Manning was just waiting for someone to get down the field. He knew he had a free play. He wanted to take a shot. And so, you know, why not throw it into coverage?
Number 72, 5-yard penalty. Repeat third down.
You see right there, Stephen Bowen, he gets into the neutral zone at the snap of the ball. Beatty maybe got away with a hands to a face here on Lorenzo Alexander. You see the left arm there come up, the helmet comes off. But Eli recognizing wisely on his part that he's got a free play. Normally you take a shot then deep, but there was nobody going deep. He just tried to fit a ball really where there was nowhere to throw it, but had nothing to lose.
So 3rd and 16, and an incompletion becomes 3rd and 11. Need to get to the 37-yard line, and Manning finds Cruz, but it's Hickson, I beg your pardon, and he's well short of the first down. And so the Giants, who punted only once in the first half, that was their opening possession, did not punt again the remainder of the half, are forced to punt on this opening possession of the second half. Brandon Banks stands at his own 24. Line drive punt handled on a bounce by Banks. Slides by a couple of tacklers and a nice return up to the 36-yard line by Brandon Banks. 13 all. Boy, you and I were here last year when the Giants stubbed their toe, as they will do from time to time here at MetLife Stadium. And the old Giants Stadium, not quite the home field advantage, one might assume. Just 8 games over 500 during the 9 years. And Tom Coughlin has been their head coach. First down, Griffin rolls, looking, and finding the seam in the middle of the defense, and that's a converted tight end, now getting more playing time here today. That's Logan Paulson, his 2nd catch of the afternoon. And remember, Fred Davis is sitting on a sideline with crutches in hand.
You see the play fake, and as Griffin comes out, Logan Paulson, who's had a nice day as a blocker, he just settles down. You know, a lot of these guys, they'll keep running, they keep themselves covered, but Paulson does a good job uncovering himself and allowing Griffin to make a good throw.
Gain of 2 on first down by Alfred Morris.
You know, you mentioned Fred Davis, and we showed him there on the sidelines with the crutches, and that would be a real concern of mine if I was with the Redskins, and certainly Mike Shanahan, as I know it is. You know, we said it was an Achilles injury. Now, to what severity is it? And it could be a completely ruptured Achilles tendon. And if that's the case, his season is over, and he's such an integral part, which makes his performance today even that much more impressive by the Redskins offensively.
Griffin fakes a handoff and is very close to a first down. Let's check in back in Los Angeles with Patrick O'Neill.
All right, Tom, thanks. Going to show you how the Dallas Cowboys get on the board versus the Carolina Panthers. Tony Romo goes to Miles Austin, who had earlier fumbled, but this time he hangs on for the touchdown. Romo, may as well give the quarterback there the numbers, 18 of 23, 184, and that touchdown. Back to Tom and Troy.
All right, Patrick, thank you very much. Cowboys needing a win today. They've got the Giants coming to town next week. Third down at 2. Griffin waited on Morris to get open, then delivers, and that's a first down.
Yeah, he did. It was good patience on his part. He first looked at Alfred Morris, the first guy in the read. He then wanted to come back to the inside to Logan Paulson. He was covered up. The Giants do a good job this time on him. And then he comes back again to Alfred Morris to get a gain on the play. It's just really good patience there by Robert Griffin.
Ball inside the Giants 30. And they pitch it to Morris, who cuts it back to the inside. He has a first down. And Plenty more all the way down to the 12-yard line. A penalty flag at the line of scrimmage. That would take away.
Personal foul. Leg whip by the offense, number 74. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down.
Well, that's a huge swing. It takes away a 15-yard run.
Right here at right tackle. As he comes around, let's see what happens. I didn't catch it when you see the leg come up, and that's what they caught. It didn't affect the play, really. Linville Joseph didn't look like he was going to be in a position to make that play, but the leg comes up, and that's what they saw. Right, Tom?
Boy, that's a bit of a stretch. You kicking me in front of the bus? First and 23. That would have been down at the 12-yard line. And the ball is on the ground, and after the big carry by Morris, he gets it right back and turns it over. Giants have it.
That ball came out quick, too. I couldn't tell if it got knocked out or if he never really quite had a handle on it going into the line.
Foley comes away with a football. First turnover of the afternoon. Linval Joseph stripping away the football. That's the first lost fumble of the year by the rookie Alfred Morris. First turnover for either team today. It has been a very quiet day on the ground for Ahmad Bradshaw and the Giants.
And as you're going to see, Linval Joseph, he comes in and he splits the double team there, and then he gets his big paw on it just as Alfred Morris is getting to the line of scrimmage. It's his first fumble of his rookie season, and Linval Joseph is really developed into a nice player. I thought he played awfully well last week and getting pressure inside, and he's done some nice things in this game here today, and he came up with a big play when the Giants defensively needed one.
Second down and 9, and a big gainer this time for Bradshaw, and he leaps his way across midfield down to the 45-yard line.
You see Chris Snee come around. He's going to help lead the way, and they really haven't utilized Ahmad Bradshaw all that much here in this ball game. Only 5 carries prior to that handoff, and you wondered when Kevin Gilbride was going to start feeding it a little bit more, whether to him or Andre Brown, much like he did last week. Now, he had a big lead last week, but those runs started to really break there in that second half. They haven't gotten a lot out of the running game prior to that last run by Bradshaw.
First down, back to the air, and back once more to Martellus Bennett. And the tight end is to the 27-yard line. That'll move the sticks once more for the Giants. Well, we invite you to call Star NFL to download NFL Mobile right now and get coverage of every NFL game. We are closing in on the 6-minute mark in a 13-13 game. The Redskins and the Giants. And of as many receptions today as he had in the last 3 games combined. Andre Brown, short pickup on first down. You know, oftentimes you ask head coaches, and when we have a chance to visit, in this case with Mike Shanahan, you know, what do you got to do to beat the Giants? And you get the old coach speak. Oh, we got to stop the run. Well, with the Giants, apparently it's not coach speak. In their 4 wins, they've rushed for better than 150 yards per game. In their 2 losses against Dallas and the Eagles, they've rushed for 70 yards. And obviously on the ground, it's been very, very quiet up until that 15-yard carry a moment ago by Ahmad Bradshaw. And on second down, Eli to put it up. And it's intercepted. Josh Wilson still on his feet and falls down at the 15-yard line. So after the turnover by Morris at one end, the Giants turn it over at the other end. Game on in the Meadowlands. We're tied at 13. One of the big turnarounds for this Redskins defense. They're giving up a lot of yards, but they are forcing the turnovers. They're on pace for 37 of them. They had 21 all of last year. We're tied at 13, and Griffin on first down finds Hankerson, and that's up to the 31-yard line, a gain of 15.
Go back to that interception. You're going to see the route by Martellus Bennett here, but keep an eye on Josh Wilson. He's the corner, and he's got help over the top, so he peels back in, and he's able to then intercept an errant throw. It sure looked to me like Martellus Bennett ran the right route. Ahmad Bradshaw shows his frustration with the end of that play, but a ball that just looked to really get away from Eli Manning, as we've seen a few times here this afternoon.
Morris been so good cutting back. Now the Giants have done a little better on Morris so far here in the second half. They forced him into a fumble, and outside of that big run that was called back for a penalty, a quiet start to the third quarter.
Yeah, a contrast to what we saw there in the first half, where there really wasn't much defense. Here in the second half, that's all we've seen. We haven't seen as much offense with the turnovers, and there's a lot of good defenses, or I should say a lot of good teams in this league with leaky defenses that have created takeaways, and so that's been a formula for some that's allowed teams to win.
How about the inside pitch? That's a fullback Young, and he's up to the 39-yard line.
You know, you think back to a few years ago when the New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl, and their defense gave up a lot of yards, but they created a lot of takeaways. Last year, Green Bay Packers gave up a lot of yards, created a lot of takeaways. I'm not trying to put the Washington Redskins in that category, but you can win in this league with a defense that gives up gives up yardage, as long as you're able to take the ball away, and they proved it on this last play, making a nice stop on the Giants.
Third down and 2. They come back the other way. They hand it off to Robinson. And the wide receiver on his first carry of the year. Surprise, surprise, crosses midfield, and that's a Washington first down.
You see Robinson, he's going to come from the right of your screen. They toss it. Typically, receivers prefer that way as opposed to a handoff. Evan Royster was out in front helping with the block. But Kyle Shanahan, we've seen it, certainly Redskin fans have seen it all season long. They've got a lot of plays to draw from within that playbook.
That one was bobbled as Griffin turns it into a 5 or a 6-yard run on what could have been another turnover. That's how things are going from this rookie out of Waco, Texas.
Well, and you know, hey, normally when something like this happens, you're falling on the ball, and you're lucky if you even get the ball back to the line of scrimmage. Now this one comes back into his hands, but he's able to pick it up and turn it into a 5-yard gain.
Ahmad Bradshaw trying to will his defense to come up with a stop. 2nd and 5. They started to throw it, and then it's intercepted by Stevie Brown. Second straight turnover by the Redskins. It almost looked as though Griffin lost the handle of the ball and then tried to throw it in that same spot, and it comes the other way.
Well, you're going to see Paulson right here, and he gets covered up pretty good. And there's a hesitation there by Robert Griffin, and normally what we've seen is that he won't throw it. But once you double clutch that, it allows a lot of people to be able to break on it. Now, Paulson wasn't going to be able to get to that ball. That ball was so far out in front of him, and just one of the rare mistakes that we've seen from this young man. Typically, you see a lot of those from a young quarterback. That was one of the few he's had.
So Bradshaw, who was just begging his defense to come up with a stop, they get the interception by Brown, and now it's first down for the Giants. That is only for Robert Griffin III, his 3rd interception in his 7th NFL game.
Yeah, and that was one that was right out in front of him. You know, I mean, you can see it. Sometimes you make a throw and you don't see a particular defender, that wasn't the case. I mean, it was all right out there in front of him as far as what was happening. He just tried to force one in there where normally he would just tuck it and get what he could.
Inside the 20, it's Dominic Hickson down to the 15.
That's that same outside leverage I was talking about a little bit earlier in the ball game. Dominic Hickson, he's going to run the post route, and you see the outside leverage by Dante Hall. And when he's outside and cluing the quarterback and playing soft, as I said earlier, if nobody gets underneath that throw, it really is there as long as you want to take it.
Bradshaw wrapped up and stretches his way to the 9-yard line. Of course, the Giants turned it over their last possession on the interception thrown by Manning. The Redskins had turned it over just 5 times all year long. Only the Steelers had turned it over less frequently. And now turnovers, back-to-back possessions. We go to the 4th in a 13-13 tie. Set to begin the 4th quarter, and the Giants knocking on the door, breaking this 13-13 tie.
I talked about Henry Hynoski earlier in this game, and you see the great block that he has there for Ahmad Bradshaw. And he's one of those guys that you love to have on your team because even he makes up for a lot of mistakes. Not that there are a lot of mistakes occurring, but when there are mistakes, he's able to make up for it, really clean it up from that fullback position.
Bradshaw, nowhere to go. Well, Ahmad Bradshaw is some kind of fired up here today after the interception on the last Giants possession. He smacked Cruz on the back of the head. They had a chance to make up. But then as they came back on the field after the interception by Stevie Brown, take a look at this.
He's pretty fired up, and if you know, we've all seen him get that way, and I'd start giving him the ball a little bit more. In fact, that's probably why he is fired up.
Well, it's a 3rd down. They're going to throw it. Cruz for a 1st down at the 4. What a nice catch.
Well, it's 3rd down, and he's the most targeted receiver in all of football on 3rd down. And so how you allow Victor Cruz to just run off the ball and turn around and catch it, I don't quite understand that. I mean, the one guy I think I'd try to get a hand on and disrupt would be him.
First and goal. Play fake to Bradshaw. Hynoski denied his first career touchdown. Well, if there's ever a guy that wants to get into that end zone after leading the way on so many Giant scores, it's Hynoski.
Well, I mean, look at the hands that he has here. I mean, this is a ball, again, not a great thrown ball. He's got if he sticks it on Hynoski there, he probably scored. But that just kind of shows you some of the versatility. And I'm sure Hynoski went into the huddle and said, thank you very much, because he doesn't get to touch the old pigskin that often.
Bradshaw in for the touchdown. So Hynoski couldn't get there after the catch. But he leads away for Bradshaw, and the Giants have the lead.
Take a look here and see whether or not he actually got in, and if we can even see it. I mean, clearly Bradshaw, he's able to get stopped, you know, short, but he just keeps driving. You see the ball get to the goal line, and where his knee was is anybody's guess. I don't know what they're going to see when they review this. All scoring plays being reviewable.
Touchdown.
But excellent drive there by New York.
So they're going to take a peek at it. And the point after when we come back. Well, they're still taking a look at this touchdown run by Ahmad Bradshaw.
The ruling on the field stands as called.
And there's a verdict from Ed Hockley, who's starting to say, based on everything we saw, Troy Aikman, it's going to be hard to overturn this call.
There's so many bodies down there. I mean, you try to piece it together and see what you can come up with. It looked like there was maybe a chance that the knee was down before he stretched the ball across, but I don't think there was anything there that was conclusive for them to be able to overturn that. And I think it was the right decision then to keep it as it was called on the field.
So now Tides for the point after. The Giants lead 20-13 after the touchdown plunge from Bradshaw.
This game is sponsored by Subway. Run to Subway this October for the Meatball Marinara featured $5 footlong of October. By the Samsung Galaxy S3. The next big thing is already here. And by Volkswagen. That's the power of German engineering.
Ahmad Bradshaw after the touchdown. We've seen how emotional he's been all day today. He's still excited.
I think he wants the ball. I really do. I mean, back-to-back 100-yard games. Of course, 200 yards 2 weeks ago, and he's never had 3 in a row.
Booted through the uprights on a kickoff by Tides. Well, coming up Saturday, Foxtoberfest continues. Fox College Saturday, the pregame. Then 17th ranked Texas Tech takes on 4th ranked Kansas State. How impressive was Kansas State in the rout over West Virginia last night? Fox College football begins Saturday 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific. Well, Bill Snyder, what a job he's done at K-State. Back to the ground, they pitch it to Morris. And still one of the biggest plays in this game was the leg whip penalty flagged against Tyler Columbus 2 drives ago, and the Redskins had the ball all the way down after a 15-yard run by Morris to the Giants' 12-yard line.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, that was a big play in the game, that penalty, and then the other penalty when they hit the touchdown to Fred Davis that was called on Hankerson. Actually, it was called. I'm sorry. It was a touchdown to Hankerson. It was called against Fred Davis. But that was a big penalty as well.
First man through is Young, and the fullback barrels his way up to the 44-yard line. Now, so much of this offense, Mike Shanahan told us, he went down to the University of Florida when Urban Meyer was down there with Tim Tebow and the different formations, and the option to pass, the option to run, and of course, Urban Meyer's now doing that at Ohio State, and Mike Shanahan is with Robert Griffin III here with the Redskins.
Spent time in Florida, spent a lot of time looking at the other teams in the NFL that run the Wildcats, some of the other colleges, and really just put it all in for whatever was comfortable for RG3.
Huge sack as he's thrown to the deck by Jason Pierre-Paul.
Niles Paul is coming in, and he's expected then to make the block on Jason Pierre-Paul, and he got there late and was unable to, so JPP had just a clear run on Robert Griffin.
Paul had 2 sacks last week in the win at San Francisco, 2nd and 22. By Stevie Brown on Morris. 3rd down coming up for the Redskins.
See Stevie Brown come in, and that, that he could be receiving a fine sometime this week. It will have to be determined whether or not Alfred Morris was a runner after he caught that, or if he was a defenseless player. But that was definitely a shoulder then to the helmet.
Catch, but short of the first down by about 3 yards is Logan Paulson. Well, Mike Shanahan's going to go for it.
This is interesting right here, and you know, I think it really comes down to how much confidence you have in your defense. I don't know that I agree with this call right here. 4th and 3 at midfield, going for it, and you're just down 7 points. I think I would punt here and make the Giants go the distance for any kind of points of their own.
They are 3 out of 3 on 4th downs this year. Catch is made, and they convert on 4th down on the reception by Leonard Hankerson to the Giant 39.
Well, Hankerson on the outside, he runs a quick slant route, and they go play action, and that's how much you have to respect the run, because they do. It holds linebacker Michael Boley from being able to get underneath that throw, so you have a clean line of sight. Robert Griffin does to make that throw.
55! 55!
Boley wraps up Morris after a gain of close to 3 on 1st down.
We'll see what the Redskins now are able to do, you know, with this drive, but a pretty good call there by Mike Shanahan at midfield. I mean, you've got to believe that if you don't pick it up there, the Giants are going to come away with at least a field goal.
219 rushing yards against this Giant defense. And all that matters is that score in the upper left-hand corner. And right now the Giants are in front by 7. And down goes Griffin again. O.C. Umenyiora, first time we've called his name all day.
Well, they try to come back with the exact same play that they did on 4th down. Now watch Boley here. He's able on this one to get underneath that throw, and he takes it away. And because he did, Robert Griffin had nowhere to go.
They're down 14. And they're a yard short. Well, you went for it at midfield on 4th down and 3. Why wouldn't you go at 4th and 1 at the 30?
Well, unless you just want 3 points, you know, but
they're going.
Well, yeah, you know, 3 points isn't going to help them. You know, they're down 7, so I mean, I shouldn't say it's not going to help them. Every point helps, but you know, knowing that it's still a 1-possession game and you've got to get a touchdown as opposed to another field goal, yeah, if you go for it where they did in midfield, then certainly you would here.
Griffin rolling, fake pass, and has a first down. He faked the throw, which momentarily held up Corey Webster, and then he ran right around the corner, and they moved the chains for a second time.
Well, it's like a 2-on-1 fast break in basketball. You're going to see Robert Griffin come outside, and Corey Webster's kind of caught in no man's land. If he comes up and challenges Griffin too much, then you drop it over his head. But Griffin instead, he fakes the pass, gets him to leave his feet, and is able to then pick up the first down.
Back-to-back 4th down conversions on this Redskin drive. And the ball is loose. And it belongs to the Giants. Paul Saxon strips it away. 3rd turnover of this half, after having 5 turnovers all year long.
Well, what's interesting about this play is if this was a true read, then he made the wrong read. Now the question is, was his knee on the ground before the ball came out?
You know Mike Shanahan's going to take a long look.
It's close.
Well, the replay official, the booth, will take a look at any turnover, and it appears as though the ball was loose before the knee came down.
Yeah, the ball was moving before the knee goes to the ground. Keep an eye on the right knee. And the ball was already on its way out of his possession at the time. So I think this is going to be ruled a fumble.
That was the call on the field. The Redskins did not punt the entire first half. 3 possessions, a field goal, a touchdown, a field goal. On 4 possessions here in the second half, a punt and 3 straight turnovers. Fumble, interception, fumble. 2 of them
deep. The ruling on the field is confirmed. The ball came out before a knee or shin was on the ground. First down.
Starting to say 2 of them deep in Giants territory.
Well, they're relying on some young players offensively, of course. Robert Griffin and then their tailback Alfred Morris, both of whom have had the turnovers here in this second half, and now they've got to show some maturity and regroup. It's still a 1-possession game. They've got to rely on their defense in order to make a stop, but get a chance to really see how Robert Griffin handles some adversity in a ball game on the road and how he finishes this game.
Giants going to throw it on first down, and it's intercepted. Right into the arms of Rob Jackson. What an unbelievable turnaround on first down.
Really not quite sure, Tom, how he didn't see Rob Jackson. He starts on the line here, but he then gets underneath this throw. And I'm not really quite sure how Eli thought he was going to be able to navigate him with the ball and not have him be a factor on that play.
I don't know about you. I'm stunned they're throwing the ball on first down. Got a chance to chew up some clock. There's a long way to go here, 7 minutes. But just like that, Robert Griffin III back on the field. And they're going to pitch it to Morris on first down, and he has a gain of close to 3. We're talking about the Redskins, who had turned it over, bear in mind, 5 times the entire year. They have now given it away on 3 consecutive possessions.
Well, the Giants, I mean, they haven't been a lot better, you know, on their end. And, you know, for as much offense as there was in the first half, now we're seeing the defenses make plays here in this second half.
Morris. He has really been slowed down after a huge first half.
Yeah, you saw Rob Jackson there on the Polaroid shot. If you didn't see him when he turned it loose. Well, now you get a chance defensively to make a key stop. I mean, if the defense is able to hold an offense here out of the end zone, that's a great job considering where the Redskins got this ball.
Well, you got to believe with this time left on the clock, this is 4 down territory for the Redskins. They pitch it to the backup tight end, Niles Paul. And no sooner do you say that, on their last possession at midfield and then down at the 30, they went for it on 4th down. And here we are with 5:40 left on a 4th down and what would be a 4th and 5. They're going to send out the field goal unit.
Yeah, I don't disagree with this, though. I mean, they still have to get a touchdown unless they are able to get 2 possessions and then 2 field goals, of course, wins. They've got to get this first, but the chances of converting that like they have aren't real good.
And that one is hit right down the can. Giants 20, Redskins 16 with 5:21 to play. Wilson will bring it out 3 yards from his own end zone. And not a wise decision. He is dropped to the 17-yard line. So now Eli and the Giants trying to get a couple of first downs and put this thing to bed. Giants with the football, 5:14 to play. The Giants in front by 4. On First down again. The Giants are going to throw it. And Eli is sacked all the way back to the 7-yard line. That is back-to-back drives. The Giants are throwing the ball first down.
Well, they are, yeah. I think after what happened last time on first down, they'd come out and try to run it just a little bit. But that's a big-time hit there by Rob Jackson after the pressure inside, right up the middle by Stephen Bowen. I mean, you've got Rob Jackson and Barry Cofield just sandwiching Eli Manning right in the pocket.
First time he is sacked in his last 149 pass attempts. Now they'll hand it off on second and forever. And now to bring up third down and long. Let's check in downstairs with more bad news injury-wise for the Redskins, Pam.
Look, Tom, middle linebacker London Fletcher, Mr. Everything for the Redskins D. He's got a right hamstring injury. He's listed as questionable, but he's got his helmet off and he's just watching. Lorenzo Alexander will now wear the helmet with the communications device and take over the middle. Back to you.
All right, Pam, thank you. This is a big, big play in this game. 4:20 left, third down and 15.
Hey, three down, 97 tonight, 97 tonight. Set. 580.
Set up the screen to Andre Brown. Blockers in front. And he has enough, or very close to enough. Did he get there? He did for the first down. What a huge play right there.
That's pretty interesting right there that they come back with the screen play. You know, really, I mean, you want to pick up the third down, but probably more or less calling it to be somewhat conservative so that they don't have a turnover. And with great protection out in front by that offensive line, David Boss leading the way. Andre Brown able to pick up a critical third down.
Got him getting on the ground this time. And a gain of 3. Giants have only run it 18 times, and it's really been an ineffective rushing attack after piling up the yards, Troy, over the last couple of weeks. But the bottom line is, again, thanks to 3 Washington turnovers, it's a 4-point Giants lead, and we're down to the final minutes here of the game.
Well, I mean, for the Redskins to be able to get the sack on Eli Manning there on first down and give up the first down, you know, with the screen pass there on that third down conversion, I mean, Mike Shanahan's got to be awfully upset with that. You know, you know, as I said, Kevin Gilbride's calling that, hoping that maybe you can pick up the first down, but I think he was doing it more than anything else. Just something safe, conservative, get as much yardage out of it as you can, and punt the ball and try to play good defense. But instead, they end up keeping this drive alive.
63, 3 down, 97 tonight.
The Redskins, after spending their first time out here in the second half, watches Cruz makes a reception about a yard, a little longer than a yard, short of the first down. Of course, later tonight it'll be baseball on Fox, Game 6 of the NLCS. From San Francisco, it'll be Joe Buck and Tim McCarver. Game 6 of the NLCS. Cardinals trying to get to the World Series for the second straight year, and the Giants trying to force a Game 7 on Fox. It would be tomorrow night. Third and a yard. Through the fingertips of Hakeem Nicks. That is a very tough throw to convert on third down and a yard.
It was surprising to me. I really thought that when they had Ahmad Bradshaw in the backfield with them, 3rd and 1, that they would run the draw to him to give him a chance to pick up the first down. But if they don't make it, then at least they run some time off the clock. And yeah, that was a pretty interesting decision there to try to throw the back shoulder fade on 3rd and 1.
Low snap. And Weatherford punts it away. And this one will check back up. Picked up by a Redskin. And And at the 23-yard line, that's a dangerous pickup there by Josh Wilson. Last week, the most electrifying run we've seen by a quarterback in a long time. In fact, the longest we have seen by any quarterback since Cordell Stewart went for 80 back with the Steelers in '96. This one went for 76 yards. What turned out to be a Redskins win over Minnesota, and here he is with a ball. His first game in the NFC East. His team down 4, 2:59 to go, and one timeout left for the Redskins. Batting ball at the line of scrimmage, second down.
I think when you look at the Redskins right now, where they're at, down 4, clearly they need to get down the field and get a touchdown. That for the mistakes that Robert Griffin has had here in the second half, he gets the chance to kind of make amends to all that here on this possession. Now they're operating with just one timeout left.
Catch is made by Evan Royster, and he maybe got back to the line of scrimmage. It brings up third down and 10, and Griffin took a shot.
Yes, he did. He gets the inside pressure of Justin Tuck. Now they're running a screen pass, and Tuck was so quick getting up the field, getting the hit on Griffin, that they weren't even able to execute the screen play.
Third and 10. Redskins looking to the sideline, and their coach Mike Shanahan on a fourth down and 10, and they're going to go for it.
Well, I think they have to, Tom. They're going to get the clock stopped if they punted because of the 2-minute warning, if in fact the play ended outside of 2 minutes. Otherwise it could very well occur on the punt. They would then only have one timeout. They really don't have an option other than to go for it here on fourth down, which made the third down throw a little precarious because there was nobody open.
Three-man rush. Griffin looking around. Now comes back up the middle. Has to get rid of it. Catch is made, and getting up and running is Paulson, and that is a fourth down conversion on 4th and 10. The elusive Robert Griffin. That takes us to the 2-minute warning. Can this rookie lead the Redskins to a game-winning drive? Motorola postgame show coming up at the conclusion of this one. 1:54 to go. A 4th and 10 conversion after the scramble by Robert Griffin III.
I think that play might be on Robert Griffin's highlight reel already. It's pretty good on 4th and 10, and he kept the play alive and kept his team's hopes alive.
Redskins with one timeout remaining. They bring the house after Griffin, and now lots of running room. Crossing the 40 and run out of bounds all the way down to the Giant 34.
We'll look at the fourth down play first, and this becomes a scramble drill as you see Robert Griffin roll out to his left. And then it's just every guy doing what he can to try to get open, and he keeps the play alive and delivers the ball then to Paulson. Now, Perry Fuel goes man coverage here, and whenever you play man coverage, there's nobody assigned then to the quarterback, and that's what happens when you've got everybody running with their back to the ball and a guy like Robert Griffin with the ball in his hands.
First down throw, first down catch by Joshua Morgan. And that'll be a gain, depending on the spot, that'll be a gain of 4 on first down. Again, the Redskins have one timeout, and down by 4, they must get it into the end zone.
Well, they have to get it into the end zone, and because they kicked the field goal when they had the ball last time, you know, a touchdown puts them then up by 3. But clearly they've got to get it into the end zone here.
Blitz coming again. They pick it up. And a touchdown throw is made to Santana Moss. Second touchdown scoring strike of the afternoon to Santana Moss. And the Redskins have the lead with 1:32 to go.
J-Ron Hosley's in coverage, man-to-man, and Santana Moss, we talked about it, lost the 15 pounds. Mike Shanahan said he was not making the plays a year ago that he needed to be able to make. He lost the weight. His role has been changed to a slot receiver, and he makes a big-time play on that one to get the touchdown.
Now the point after is good. Go back to the 4th and 10 play. That kept this drive alive. Finds a third string tight end. Remember, he's only in there because of the injury to Fred Davis earlier in the game, and then the drive capped off by this.
Well, this was just outstanding. It was a good release by Santana Moss. He just goes right by J-Ron Hosley, but you still got to make the throw, and you've got to drop it in there, and Robert Griffin does that beautifully. He sees immediately what he has, knows what he's got in Santana Moss. That's just an exceptional job by both those players. This is the 4th down play here that they'll be talking about regardless, but especially if the Redskins go on to win this game. It looked like he was dead in the rights, keeps the play alive, and what a catch by Logan Paulson. Very few can't believe it.
That was after the 4th down play.
That's just a perfectly thrown ball by Robert Griffin, knowing that he had man coverage. Santana Moss, it was a matchup problem for the Giants with Hosley on him. That's just a great drive by Washington.
You said earlier, if there's one quarterback in the NFL that's proven over his career, you want the ball in his hands with the game on the line, it would be Eli Manning. And he may get this chance, depending on the result of this return by Wilson. He brings it up to the 29-yard line, so now Eli Manning. Robert Griffin III takes the Redskins 77 yards in 1:27 to take the lead. And now Eli Manning, who has directed 23 career 4th quarter game-winning drives, has his team down 3 from its 23. And the Giants have all 3 timeouts left. 2nd and 10. Well, the first half, neither team could be slowed down here today. In fact, we only had 1 punt in the entire first half, but 5 turnovers by the 2 teams in the second half. After the fumble by Griffin, when it looked like the Giants would lose the lead, they turned it right back over. But then after the Giants could not keep their last possession, keep the drive alive on a 3rd down and 2, as Manning looks to Cruz. He will race to the end zone.
Well, Victor Cruz is in the slot, and they've got Josh Wilson on him at the line of scrimmage, and I don't know if he was anticipating any help from Madu Williams or not. Madu Williams sits to the outside. They were not anticipating, or at least he wasn't, that Cruz was going to run a go route right through the heart of that defense, but he does. His speed once again gets by Wilson, and a well-thrown ball by Manning.
Point after is good. Punch, counter punch. After the Griffin touchdown scoring strike to Santana Moss. For many of you just joining us, this was The score just moments ago giving the Redskins the lead, going to 77 yards in 7 plays. But back comes Eli Manning, and back come the Giants.
Well, Victor Cruz, as I said, I mean, this guy, he's just a terrific football player. And last year he did it so many times when they needed a big play down the field. It was Victor Cruz that was the one who came up with it. And you called it when they took the field, Tom. Eli Manning has done this so many times in his career, and he pulls one off again. Now, there's still plenty of time. Now, the Redskins do still have the 1 timeout.
That is now 6 touchdowns in the last 4 games for Cruz. Of course, 3 of those came in 1 game. And now has a touchdown in 4 consecutive games. And the numbers for this guy are just staggering. When you think of where he was roughly this time a year ago, barely making the roster, and now among the elite receivers in all of football. Hines will put a foot on it. And it is hammered. Banks is going to, he stepped on the line on the back of the end zone, so the Redskins will get the ball to 20. 1:13 left.
Returner's back foot touched out of bounds, making it a touchback. Washes the ball on the 20-yard line.
The Redskins traded 3 first-round picks and a second-rounder to St. Louis for the right to the 2nd overall choice in this year's draft. And that's a young man they plucked out of Baylor.
We'll see what Perry Fuel, defensive coordinator, wants to do on this series. We saw him go man coverage on the last possession, and the one big run up the sideline by Robert Griffin, and then that's what they scored the touchdown on to Santana Moss, was versus man.
Redskins with a football, 1:13 left, crossing pattern. And the ball is loose. Redskins pick it back up. Morgan caught it, dropped it. And they're going to say, what, he was down? At the 22-yard line, it looked like he was the one that picked the ball back up and then advanced up to the 32, and that's where it should be, and that's where it is.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they came in and tried to respot it backwards. I agree. Nobody went to the ground.
My clock will start right back up. Under a minute. And again, it has to be a touchdown. And behind Santana Moss, 46 seconds remain for Griffin and the Redskins.
Well, the Giants they're still coming up and challenging these receivers. They've got a deep safety. Anytime you come up and you play tight, you do risk the chance then of giving up something big, particularly on the outside.
Loses the ball, and the Giants say they've got it, and they do. The Redskins had turned it over 5 times the entire year. Through their first 6 games, they have turned it over 4 times in this half.
You see Moss, as soon as he catches the ball, he tries to secure the ball and protect it from being stripped. But Chase Blackburn, even as he tries to protect the football, Blackburn, when he comes in for the tackle, he's able to rip it right out of his arms. Moss did everything that he thought he could do, and yet Blackburn was still able to get in and strip it and give the ball back to the Giants. Santana Moss, you talk about the range of emotions here in the last minute and a half. Goes from scoring what he thought might be the winning touchdown to then putting the ball on the ground and securing the win for the Giants.
So the Redskins, after sweeping the Giants in both their meetings last year, will lose in their first encounter here in 2012. Giants will go to 5-2, stay atop the NFC East. But if you're a Redskin fan, there is hope. And they came here and played quite well. Our final score, Giants 27, Redskins 23. Let's send it to the conclusion.